They are back. It's time for Red America Radio. Straight up conservative talk for today's red-blooded America. With the host of Behind the Headlines, TV's Karyn Turk, and Dr. Chris Metzler, political commentator and best-selling author. Making radio great again. Red America Radio.
The lies that we've been told have put our dreams on hold, and you know if we don't watch out, we could all go under and drown. Yeah, the future depends on us, so we gotta wake up, gotta shake it up now, and let's make America great again. Yes, my dear, we can make America great again. Make America great again. Make America great again. Oh.
And we're back.
Indeed we are. Red America Radio, here we go.
Here we go. And you know, we're fresh on the new week. It's been a lot last week to take in. We had Joe Biden's speech accepting the nomination as the Democratic nominee.
Was that a speech or was that just random thoughts?
Well,
I'm not sure.
I think it was very Hollywood, and I think it's very apropos that we're going to have our guest on today who walks the line between Hollywood and being a true patriotic American. Do you want to announce our guest? Because it's somebody I'm so excited about, Chris.
Oh, I am so excited. It is the lovely, thoughtful, kick-ass, bad girl, Joy Villa. Everyone knows Joy. Can you, the dresses, the Trump dress, the anti-abortion dress, and she is a red-blooded conservative, talks the true talk and walks the true walk. So excited to have Joy on today, on this show today.
She does, and it's not her first go around on our show. We've had her on before in season 1, and I have a huge girl crush on Joy, so I want everybody to know that right now because she is really one of my favorite conservatives. Female conservatives that really, she walks the line on the red carpet between Hollywood, the Grammys, and conservative down home America. Like she is just really somebody who's relatable, but yet straddles that line. And I think that's what makes her really unique and impressive.
Well, I have a boy crush on her, so there you go.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, we're going to have to fight over her, Chris. So we're going to see how that goes. We're fighting over Joy today. So we're going to have Joy on in a bit, but I did want to talk a little bit more about Biden's speech because I thought this was a true Hollywood production in so many ways. And I want to roll the clip that we put together, Chris. Let's roll that clip.
Oh, let's do it.
Hooray for Hollywood. That's gooey valley, hooly Hollywood.
The current president has cloaked American darkness for much too long. That the end of this chapter of American darkness began here tonight. And hope and light join in the battle for the soul of the nation. And make no mistake, united we can and will overcome this season of darkness in America.
You're out of the dark, you're out of the night. Step into the sun, step into the light. Hold on to your breath, hold on to your heart, hold on to your home. You're out of the woods, you're out of the dark, you're out of the night. Step into the sun, step into the light.
I'm a proud Democrat.
Get out of the dark and into the light.
Well, in order to get into the light, you first might have to leave the basement. The thing about it for me was it was so staged. They were very clear with him, though. What you need to do is read the teleprompter. And he did.
Yeah, I think they definitely had him on some serious medication. He looked good. He stayed on task. He didn't really deviate. I did notice, though, that he didn't say God. He said Lord. And that kind of made me a little uncomfortable. I don't know if you caught that in the speech.
Yeah, I did. And for me, as a Catholic, which allegedly he is, I wouldn't say that. So that was a bit bizarre. But hey, am I surprised that what he does or says is bizarre? Never, ever.
I know. So you can see the striking resemblance of why I made the reference between the Wizard of Oz and this crew of four that were really like, it looked like they were almost, in that video that I just put, it looks like they were almost acting out where they all held hands, just like in the Wizard of Oz. And I was trying to figure out if Joe Biden's Dorothy or if maybe that's Dr. Jill.
I think it is, in fact, Dr. Jill. But I was thinking of something more sinister. Be gone before someone, I don't know, drops a house on you.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That's a good one. I was trying to break down the characters, and I thought, okay, so we've got Dr. Jill as Dorothy. We've got, probably Joe, I would have to say, is the Scarecrow.
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%. He's definitely the Scarecrow.
If he only had a brain.
Yeah, there you go. Well, there's that.
There is. And then, you've got Kamala. So, you've got your two characters left. Would she be the Cowardly Lion? No, she'd be the Tin Man because she has no heart.
That's exactly right. You're completely on point with this. Definitely not the Cowardly Lion. The Tin Man, yeah.
For sure. And it's, they're selling a fantasy, they're selling a dream. And that's what I think really makes the movie such an interesting reference to what happened, because they're selling a Hollywood dream. This isn't really about what they want to do for the American people. This isn't authentic. This isn't authenticity. I'm going to say it right here, and I've said it before. I think at this point, the Democratic Party are basically communists.
Well, pretty much. Communists, socialists, all of those kinds of things. But here's the interesting thing for me. They were holding hands. I thought you're not supposed to be doing that. They were kind of close.
And did you catch that Joe Biden kept trying to take his mask off, and his wife kept like grabbing him and stopping him? She was like poking him, and she was like, no, don't take the mask off. He couldn't take it. He was taking the mask off. This is not about, and the thing that I think really drove me crazy too about the speech, I mean, there were so many things, but was the national mask mandate. Did that not scare the living shit out of you, Chris?
Oh, absolutely. This national mask mandate? Are you kidding me? I mean, really? That was the thing that really, you talk about really a fascist takeover. That's what we have here. This notion that you're going to give me a national mask mandate, you're going to be arresting a lot of conservatives.
Yeah, for sure. They are. And, and I wouldn't put it past them as they're arresting conservatives every day. Look, now we've got Steve Bannon, and, he may not be my favorite person in Washington, D.C. And, I've disagreed with him a lot, and he said a lot of things that have rubbed me the wrong way. But quite frankly, we see again and again and again all of these conservatives being arrested. We talked about Millennial Millie last week. We could talk about myself. We could talk about Roger Stone. The list goes on and on and on. And I don't think that it's going to get any better until right before the election. And I like making predictions on this show. So I'm going to make a prediction right now that as we get closer, I think that the president is just waiting for the opportunity to turn this around on them. And that by, the end of October, we're going to see some drastic changes, and we're going to see some other people on the other side of the aisle getting arrested. I'm going to remain optimistic, but I have very little faith in the DOJ at this point.
Yeah, at this point, DOJ is just not doing what it's supposed to do. And I have very little faith. I mean, come on, guys. What are you doing? How long have you been doing this? You've come up with nothing. Zero. There was this one FBI lawyer who pled guilty. Okay, but that's about it. That's all you've come up with? Really? Doing all of this time, this is it? I know there's a lot of discussion about Chris Wray and whether he should go. There's a lot of discussion. As I was in DC this week, a lot of the conversation focused on that. And then the other thing I'd say about the speech last night is, and about the entire convention this week, what they were talking about is just an anti-Trump agenda. I am yet to hear what are they going to do. out of the darkness into the light. I have no idea what the heck that means. I don't know what that is. And so for me, if what you're saying is vote for me because I am not Trump, good luck with that. Because that's pretty much what they're saying. And that's what they said throughout the entire convention. So, yeah, whatever.
They have no platform. Their platform is get rid of the president. Their platform is be against Donald Trump. Their platform is not based on policy discussions. It's not based on what they bring to the table. It's based on taking our president down and taking him out. And it has been since 2016.
Yes.
Ukraine, Russia, impeachment, now the COVID crisis. This is just unbelievable. And when you talk about fascists and this mask mandate, it takes me back to what I said before, and I'm going to stand behind it, is socialism always leads to communism. They're very closely tied. And there's just, there is just a line that we're walking here. And the Democratic Party has gone so far to the left and is really, at this point in my mind, a bunch of communists. Maybe some of them aren't aware that they're communists. Maybe they're not in touch with that reality. But, I sent you the clip earlier that I want to play. It's a clip from 1969.
I love that clip.
It's an amazing clip. And I shortened it a little bit for our audience right here so we can fit it into the radio show and the podcast. But I want to play it because it's pretty prophetic. And it's historically accurate as well. But it's just the same old trick. So let's play that clip.
Absolutely.
As early as 1928, the communists declared that the racial differences among our people constituted the weakest and most vulnerable point in our social fabric. By constantly probing and straining at this one spot, they calculated that eventually the cloth could be torn apart and that Americans could be divided, weakened, and perhaps even set against each other in open combat. We mustn't kid ourselves into thinking that the communists have placed their agitators only into the black communities. They're working both sides of the street. They want hatred, violence, and bloodshed between the races, and they don't care how they get it or whom they use, even children if necessary. Hoping to avoid further violence and bloodshed, the public is to be pressured into accepting measures that will move the country gradually and legally toward communism, but without calling it that. The strategy of the proletarian revolution calls for the quiet conversion of our government into a communist regime, but under the banner of socialism. What has all this to do with the communist revolution in America? Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has everything to do with it, because the building of socialism is the communist revolution in America.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back on Red America Radio. Just a brief commercial break. We have to pay the bills, guys.
Divided We Stand. The Search for America's Soul is the most important book of our time. Best-selling author Dr. Christopher Metzler answers, "What the heck is going on, America?" Divided We Stand is a funny, fast-paced, razor-sharp, savvy critique of the state of our union and the disastrous reign of Barack Obama. Political lion slayer, red-blooded conservative Dr. Metzler offers inspiration and a positive message to America. The way to fight back and win is principle, conviction, and a wicked sense of humor.
In the days of clickbait news and salacious eyeball-popping headlines, you must delve behind the headlines. Things can get so murky on the internet that it's hard to see. Behind the Headlines TV on YouTube delves deep to fully expose the real truth. Each episode, Karyn Turk wades through the swampy news in thigh-high boots, breaking facts down into bite-sized pieces. Subscribe to Behind the Headlines TV to see her dominate YouTube with real facts behind today's biggest stories.
It's crazy. It's like Antifa was a thing back then, right?
Right. Antifa definitely was. It's one of these things where they're spending so much time trying to erase history and erase the past. They ought to take a very close look at this video. They really ought to take a very close look at it, because Antifa apparently is back and raging.
It's in a big way. And, when he talks about the fact that there's a lot of money behind this, we brought this up again and again, the billionaire globalist, George Soros, it's the same old story. And historically, we went through this, during civil rights, during the changes back then. And it was the same agenda. It was about race and dividing us as an American people and making us see these differences that really in reality don't exist for most Americans.
Yeah, and yeah, they don't exist. They don't matter. I mean, it's and that becomes the whole conversation. But to the extent that's all you have, then I guess that's what you're going to use, which is unfortunate. But it seems to me that it is clearly part of the platform. And in fact, that was made very clear this week at the DNC convention. It was made 100% clear. Look, if JFK, if he was alive, he would not be president on the Democratic side.
No, he'd be a Republican for sure. He would not be a Democrat. There's no way. He was a conservative back then, but the Democratic Party's totally changed. It's now the party of socialism and communism. You know, there were communists back then, but they weren't a part of the Democratic Party. It was something very different.
Yeah, and you look at, you know, all of these, you know, far left loonies, progressives, whatever they want to call themselves, you know, and what was that AOC 1 minute thing? I was like, what? What are you talking about? You know, she who drove all the jobs out of New York, but that's a different conversation.
She's delusional. She doesn't know how to use a garbage disposal. I don't really have anything nice to say at all. I don't understand how she got elected. The people in that district should be disgusted with themselves. And I just absolutely think that she is just horrific.
Well, and you look at somebody like Omar, for example, who, for the life of me, I couldn't figure out how she got reelected, but she did.
Well, you know, it's all a casting call, Chris. I mean, you know, going to go back to Hollywood again. This is the Hollywood magic. This is what we're talking about today. Hollywood, the Democratic Party, and Hollywood in general. And really the casting calls that took place that put people like AOC and Ilhan Omar in office and Rashida Tlaib, those were casting calls where they went out and they said, we are looking for people to play this role, to play congresswomen. We want you to do this. And AOC was an actress. That's what she was. She was a bartender and an actress. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No,
and not that there's anything wrong with doing that and running for Congress. But she was cast in this role. She didn't set out to be a congresswoman. She was cast for the role, and she's puppeteered, and she has been from the beginning. Just like they're puppeteering Joe. They are an acting society. We should just give them an award. The Grammy Award, the Emmy Award, the Golden Globe, whatever it is. It goes to the Democratic Party. Whatever awards we're giving away now. Academy Award. I don't even know. I can't get my awards straight anymore. That's because I don't watch any of these shows.
Yeah. I give it to them because you're absolutely right. It is in fact a casting call. I just you look at it. You look at somebody like Tlaib. My God, the way she behaved on the floor of the Congress. I mean, her. Oh my Lord! I looked at her. I thought, well, please, what are you doing? I mean, her behavior was just simply disgusting, as is most of her policies.
Listen, and on a more positive note, I have to say on the attractiveness factor, I was looking at the people that were at the DNC at this convention. Just as a group, I have to say that conservatives are a better looking group of people than Democrats at this point. Would you agree, Chris?
Oh, I agree 100% because I looked at that and I thought, no, not so much.
It was like the Frumpty Dumpty show outside. It was like a drive-in movie for Frumpty Dumpty people. It was a bad scene. You know, I don't know. I think that they should have had some sponsors for, like, you know, weight loss products, you know, health products. You wonder why all these people are getting sick with COVID.
Oh yeah, and you know, when you can say that the most attractive person was Hillary Clinton,
I actually would have given that award to Kamala. I would have gone with Kamala was the most attractive person there, and that's not saying much. But hey, you know, she's done pretty well for herself in light of the fact that she's not the most attractive woman. So she seems to have no problem getting guys and, you know, having fun.
Yeah, all kinds of things.
So that being said, speaking of attractive, beautiful conservative women, we're going to have Joy on the show, and we're going to catch up with her and find out what's going on with her. She's got a new book coming out. It's called Kickass Conservative. You got to love that name. Yeah.
And Joy, and that's exactly what she does every day. She kicks ass. And that's what she does every day. She just did a very interesting sit down with someone from Black Lives Matter, and she basically ripped him a new one.
Ooh, we're gonna have to ask her about that.
Yes,
All right,
I loved it.
Let's do it. Let's get Joy on the line. I'm gonna get very joyful in just about a second.
There you go. But guys, today we have the opportunity to present to you the Kickass Conservative, hot mama, lovely, talented, and absolutely unapologetically conservative, and that girl can sing. So we have, of course, Joy Villa. Hello, Joy.
Hello.
Welcome back, Joy. Welcome back.
Thank you. Love both you guys. This is awesome. You know, in these days where, you know, censorship and just all of this oppression on freedom, it's so good to see, you know, free media, to have both of you guys interview me and to talk about the things you talk about. It's good to be back.
Great to see you again. So, Kickass Conservative.
Yes.
Yeah, we're about.
Spill the tea, girl.
I will spill the tea. So I came out with my new book. This is my first ever book. It actually releases September 1st. So it's in pre-order status now. It already hit number 16 on the Amazon chart, number 17 on the Amazon charts for women in politics. And so it's available on Amazon. It's available on my website. You can get autographed copies. You can get custom copies, joyvilla.com. If everyone signs up for my newsletter, because they are viewers of your show, they'll get 20% off. So all they have to do is go to joyvilla.com, sign up for the newsletter, and they get 20% off. So my book is how I escaped the liberal left and feminism to become a Trumplicant, freedom-loving Trumplicant, and how you can too. So I teach others, I talk about my journey. I teach others how to go from, you know, just very much into social media's hashtag army, right? This whole social justice warriors. I was totally in that, SJWs they call it, you know, what it used to be called. And it's really like a cult of personality. You believe that you are doing the right thing. You believe that you are fighting for justice. You know, I'm upset about this. I'm angry by this. So I'm going to take it to social media. I'm going to hashtag it. But you don't really know what it's about. And of course, once I educated myself and I went through this whole change, I walked away. It was insane. As a woman of color, I'm Black and Latina, you know, to be told that all of this one party was against me and Trump is evil and Republicans are evil. And then to see it's a total opposite and to have gone through that change and to have faced haters and to have done it very publicly on the red carpet. I talk about what inspired my dress, how my secrets are for fighting the haters and how to deal with them. And I spill all the beans. I spill the tea. There's juicy stories in there, how I met the president, what he said about me, my experience, you know, going from an independent artist to #1 on the Billboard charts, still independently. And I share all of that. It's a very positive and funny account. That's why I call it Kick-Ass Conservative.
Yeah, because I mean, the work that you've been doing has been absolutely fantastic. As a woman of color who is so stereotyped and so hated. And the worst part is these people who hate you don't even know you.
They don't. They've never seen me. They've seen my dresses. They've seen that I'm proud of the flag, that I love America, and then they judge me based on that.
Right. And it's like, you know, they see you on social media and it's like, look, you don't even know me and I'm likely not to even meet you. So all of this.
I don't know, you probably won't. That's why I wrote this book too, because I want people to know me. Even if you're not a conservative, find out what conservatism is, why we back this president, why it's so important, why it's detrimental for America and our future. And it's a book for everybody. And it's done, you know, I give no Fs. You know, I've never given an F. I am who I am. Like you call me unapologetic, you know, you've known me for years, Chris. And it's something that it's just, if we don't stand up and fight for truth and for freedom, the next generation won't have a chance. So this is something that God has placed on my shoulders as a mantle that I thought, well, I'm just an artist with a strong voice. I've always been outspoken, but something changed in me that led me to do this fight for the last 4 years and will continue to fight for eternity.
Absolutely. And by the way, how's the boyfriend?
Oh, he's good. Thank you.
I always have to ask about him. You two are such a cute couple. So
Thank
I
you.
always have to ask about him.
Thank you. Well, we've been together 7 months now. We got together before COVID in January, before the Grammys. And he's not political, but I'm starting to red pill him. He hates cancel culture. He hates all this, stuff that's going around. So he's got a good head on his shoulders, but his name's Ryan. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a normie. He's not in politics. He's not in art, but I love him so much. We're having fun.
What is behind you? Is that a tapestry or is that a piece of art? I can't really tell, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a big piece of art. It's a huge,
I love it.
I paint as well, but that's not my painting. But I do have a painting that's that blue one right there. Oops, I can't.
Yes.
Yeah, you can kind of see it there in the corner.
Yeah, in the corner. I painted that one.
Yeah.
But I love art. I love color. So this one is just a huge canvas, and it's an original piece. So I love it. It's my backdrop.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
And I'm sure the haters will hate that too, that how you have a beautiful piece of art behind you. How dare you do that?
How dare you use colors? I'm sure I'm appropriating something. There used to be that we were a protected category. If you were a woman, right? All of us we would have our protected categories. But since we're Republicans, since we're conservatives, no, we're not protected anymore. They can hate on us just as much, and they call us names. I mean, I've never faced such hate and degradation, attempts to degrade me as from the left, as when I came out on the right. Before they loved me. I get people still. They go, oh, you're amazing. You're an artist. You look awesome. You look cool. You look woke. I've got tattoos. They're like, you're so cool. And then they find out I'm a Trump supporter. They're like, oh, no, you're a racist, misogynist. You're a Nazi. I hate you. It's crazy.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I think that's the real Me Too movement. The real Me Too movement is a movement of conservatives because we all have the haters. We all have the stalkers. We're all encounter on a daily basis this unbelievable rhetoric. I mean, it's mind-boggling that this is going on in America, and the divisiveness isn't about race. It's not about anything else. It's about this cancel culture. You said it perfectly when you brought up cancel culture.
It really is.
That's really the world we're living in.
It is. And, I write a whole chapter about that in my book, actually, Kickass Conservative, because I face cancel culture. And I was interviewed by Jubilee Media, which they have a huge YouTube platform. Their videos get millions of views each. And my video was, are you pro or anti-cancel culture? And they put a group of us, and then I was anti-cancel culture. And I was the only person there who has actually experienced cancel culture personally. And then the people who were pro were like, well, what about somebody hurts someone or they kill someone? I'm like, yeah, okay, if someone does a crime, I understand that. Don't listen to their music. Don't buy their music. Don't buy their movies, right? Somebody, hurt someone like Harvey Weinstein, right? It's going to be hard because his hands were in so many movies, but it's like if there was a movie that I knew was produced by him, I would try not to go see it, right? Because I don't want to support that. Mm-hmm. But cancel culture isn't that. If it was just that, I'd be pro. Cancel culture's, you said a tweet 5 years ago that I disagree with. Maybe I now disagree with, right? Because humor is changing the barometer of what's funny. We used to be able to say all kinds of things, right? But now it's like if you say one little thing that's offensive to one minority, tiny group, one person, they can now cancel you. And they can say, oh yeah, he is blah, blah, blah. Fill in the ick, right? A homophobic, or, transphobic, whatever phobic they want to put on you. They can now cancel you. They can say, take them off. They can't host the Oscars, right? Was that Kevin Hart couldn't host the Oscars because he did one, tweet about someone being gay, which was like 6 years ago when people were joking about that stuff. Listen, I support the LGBT, but they joke about themselves all the time. We have to be able to joke. We have to have humor. Otherwise, we're going to die in this cancel culture vacuum where nothing is funny anymore because it might offend someone. It's like, no, when you sit back, you turn the TV off, you and your friends are kicking it, you're joking about everything. Like me and my boyfriend, we love to roast each other. That's one of our love languages. We roast each other. We're making jokes all the time. And it's fun because we're keeping each other laughing, we're keeping each other on our toes, and it's humor, right? It's no one's getting offended.
And that's the thing. You used to be able to be friends with people and talk politics and disagree with people and listen to them.
Right.
The thing that's so crazy about it is if we listen to people, then you can understand who they are. And maybe you don't see eye to eye, but at least you can appreciate that they have an opinion. I'm at the point where I have what I call demophobia, because I'm now phobic about Democrats, because the majority of the Democrats that I know aren't nice anymore. They're just not nice to me anymore, because we're living in this cancel culture where they have now been conditioned to be, oh, you can't be nice to her. You can't have a civil conversation with a Trump supporter. Of course you can have a civil conversation. I don't need to agree with you. I have my own opinion. I'm my own person.
That's right, Karen.
Crazy.
And that's the problem, is they want to
crazy world.
Their own person. They don't want us to prejudge them, and which I'm going to respect you until you give me a reason not to.
Right.
But for some reason, they can use our color, our age, our gender, our voting record against us. It's now like all holds, are off. Like there's no politeness, there's no respect. Because it's true, if you're a Democrat, it's okay to hate on a Republican, because Republican equals Nazi. Throw holy water on them. They're bad. They're evil. And it's just a fear tactic. We know who's behind this. We know the Democrats are behind this push to make Republicans seem like evil, even though we freed the slaves, right? The Republican Party freed the slaves. Yeah. And there's such a growing number of Black, Latino, women, Asian, like immigrant voters who are now leaving the Democratic Party in waves. So they're losing their people, they're losing their face. Celebrities haven't gotten anything for votes, right? They made the same mistake. I was on Fox 5 the other day talking about the DNC convention, and they had every celebrity up there, every celebrity hosting it, from Billie Eilish to Eva Longoria to everyone. They had all the luminaries up there, right? But guess what they're going to do? They're going to lose hardcore. Joe Biden is not reaching the normal person, the voter. You can have all the celebrities in the world, but you need the votes. Right. The everyday Americans want policies that are going to help us, not hurt us. And that's what they did in 2016. Hillary had Katy Perry up there waving her flag and everything. They did, and they lost. They lost hardcore, because Trump doesn't need celebrity voices. He has the American voice. And that's why he's going to win again with a landslide this year.
Absolutely. And so as we're moving forward, so Joy, now you have the book.
Yes.
I want to know what dresses are coming out.
Oh, well, hopefully we'll have a Grammys this year. I don't know next year, because this year I wore my Trump 2020.
Yeah.
We did have an Emmys this year. We're supposed to have an MTV Awards coming up in about a week, actually. And so I don't know what's going to happen. I think it's this weekend, but that's going to really show if we're even having a Grammys, because the Grammys might not. And if we have a Grammys, do we have a red carpet? Do we have a broadcast? Or is it all everyone zooming in, right? Playing, which they might do, which I'm like, I think you got to keep traditions up. You got to keep the things going. You got to keep the train going. But we don't know what's happening. And the media's freaking out about COVID. So they want to placate people. Are we going to have a bunch of performers up there in masks? Is that going to work? That's going to be weird. I don't really know what's going to happen. But if there's a Grammys and there's a red carpet, I will be there. And I've got plenty to say. And that means President Trump will be reelected by the time, because the Grammys is February of next year. And just like I've done 2017, 2018, 2019, and this year, I will continue in 2021 to be loud, proud, and outspoken. I have lots of speaking engagements coming up as well. So you can go to joyvilla.com to check out that. I'm going to put up my calendar. It's filling up, which I'm excited. A book tour. And I just hope everyone checks out Kickass Conservative. I reveal some very vulnerable things in there that I haven't talked about before, that people have tried to slander me for. I have a past. I'm not an angel. I'm a preacher's daughter, but I'm not a preacher, But even the best preachers have the worst past. God uses the least of these. So I make no bones about it that I am not a perfect person, but I hope to restore the sanity and the sovereignty back to the American public. And to the people, to the voters, by just being a voice. I get letters every day in my inbox saying, you helped me turn conservative. I don't see anyone that looks like me or sounds like me, or who's in Hollywood, who's an artist, who's a strong woman, not like these people who are out there on the left. We're being told, shoved down our throats as role models when they're not. And so I'm incredibly proud of having this, being a role model. I've tried not to be someone's role model, because that's a lot of work. And then I say, well, when you're outspoken, you become a role model. I always say, be yourself, use your own voice. And that's what I say in Kickass Conservative. And it will hopefully turn a lot of people who are on the sidelines, who are like a little bit unsure. Should I vote for Trump? I don't know. I know I hate the Democratic Party, but I'm not sure about Trump, because that's where I was in 2016. I knew Hillary was evil. I knew that the Democratic Party had failed me. I was a registered independent, but I had voted for Obama. I would have told you I was a Democrat proudly. And it just took a little bit of studying on a few things. A friend saying, watch this video of Trump, watch this, read this, listen to this. So also the book is on audiobook as well. So Kickass Conservative audiobook, ebook, and print book at joyvilla.com.
I just can't say enough good things. I thought I was girl crushing before, but this is like a whole other level now.
Oh yeah, it's a completely different level. I mean, she just, the confidence that she presents every time, the fact that she is authentic. This isn't an act, it's not Hollywood casting. And her basic conservative principles, completely fascinating. I mean, every time I talk to Joy, or every time I go to an event where she's presenting, I'm just enamored. Because it's joy.
It's joy. It brings you joy. Like I said before the interview, she really does. And, it's her energy is so authentic. She's so real. Yeah. She's so just unapologetically herself, which hence the book, Kickass Conservative, which I love the title because it embodies so well who she is.
Absolutely.
I've had the pleasure of meeting her in person as well. And, her energy on Zoom is amazing. You can't even imagine when you're in the room with this person, how great her energy is, and just the authenticity. I can't say that word enough that she brings. And, she's a conservative because she believes in American values and because she's seen the opportunity that she's had for herself, just like you do and I do. And, I think that's why most of us have really come to this side of the aisle, is because we see an authenticity and we see a realness in the people that are embodying the message of standing up for America. And that's really what we all have to do now. And she's certainly gone balls to the wall with that one.
Oh, yes, she has indeed. She most definitely has.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we'll definitely have her on again. I'm really looking forward to what's in store for her. And, there's a lot of similarities, I think, between your book, Divided We Stand, and her book, talking about, the things that are in the narrative in America that shouldn't be, and these things that are manufactured, these Hollywood moments that the Democratic Party pulls in.
Yeah, absolutely. There is, in fact, a lot of similarities. And when I talk with her, I talk with her about that often. And similarities are just absolutely great.
So what's in store next week? Are you going back to DC, or are you going to give me some more DC tidbits and give some stuff to our audience about what's happening in DC? Yeah,
so I am running the campaign for the Republican candidate for mayor of Baltimore City. Now, when I say Republican Baltimore City, people are like, I'm not sure. However, next week, we're going to have a kick-ass surprise for everyone, and it's going to turn the race around. We're doing very well. Fundraising is going very well. Her earned media is going very well. We're about to do a major ad buy, but we got to take Baltimore back, because Baltimore has become one of the worst places to live. This is our time to install true conservative values in the city. It's the only thing that's going to turn the city around.
It's a third world city, but it is because of the leadership that's been in place. And I think that it really is a good testament to what happens when you have bad Democratic leadership that allows everything to go the direction of not balancing the economy, not looking out for taxpayers, and not doing what's right for the people of that city, and doing what's right for big government.
Well, yeah, and in Baltimore, you have something so silly. It's called a rain tax. So the more it rains, the more you're taxed. Are you kidding me? For senior citizens who can barely afford their homes, they now got to pay a rain tax. So it's rain tax, it's potholes, it's corruption. The state attorney, of all people, is embroiled in yet another scandal. She owned a travel company. That travel company booked her all of her travel, which of course was state funds she was using for that. And she now refuses to release the emails and direction between her and the travel agency. Absolute corruption in that city, and it's got to stop.
Such a common theme, refusing to release emails. I think I've heard that somewhere before, Chris. Hasn't that happened before?
Yeah, many times. I guess she and Hillary have had some good conversation about that.
It's the playbook. It's the playbook, and it's bad. It's really bad. And, I scratch my head every day that how anyone at this point can vote these people in is mind-boggling to me, because they don't have your best interests at heart. Take the two-party politics out of it. Don't you want to vote for somebody who actually has your best interests at heart? How do you go there? How do you do that? How do you just throw caution in the wind and say, you know what, I don't care about how this is going to affect my family, because it's not going to end well. They've proven it again and again and again.
Yeah, I mean, a city like Baltimore will ultimately, unless the voters make a different choice, will ultimately end up in receivership, and that's not going to end well.
Well, we gotta take our country back again. And I thought, on that whole Joe Biden speech, well, I'll go back to for one more minute, there were two things on there that were very striking to me that you just brought up. You said, something about the elderly residents of Baltimore. Yeah. And one of the things that struck me is Joe Biden actually had the chutzpah to say during his speech something about looking out for the elderly and allowing them to stay home. And I thought, I can't believe that you're going to pull this in now when we've watched all of these elderly people die, being shuffled through these nursing homes by Democratic leaders. My own mother was allowed to die in horrific conditions at the hands of people, who are pretty closely connected to the Democratic Party. So, for him to get up there and say, maybe I have a personal beef, and if I do, well, it's understandable. I just absolutely am infuriated by the way that they've treated the elderly in this country, like they are disposable. And Michael Bloomberg, 2011, saying, hey, well, let's not give him medical treatment. And then Joe Biden, gets up there and says that. That just made me ill. And
then Cuomo with the nursing homes and all of that. I mean, it seems to me that something in the Democratic DNA causes them to behave in a manner that's just simply not caring.
Yeah, they don't care about the American people. They don't care about you and me. They don't care about the elderly. It's all a farce. It's all Hollywood. It's all a production. It's all scripted. And it's all meant to touch the heartstrings of voters instead of actually placing in real facts, real direction, real platforms, and real things that are achievable. They want to talk about this COVID crisis and how the economy was trashed. You know what? Before March, the economy was better than it had ever been.
Yeah.
In years and years and years and years, maybe ever. And maybe ever. Our president did such a good job, and they destroyed it. They destroyed it with this dark agenda. So you want to talk about darkness? Joe Biden's basically the Prince of Darkness.
Well, and that's exactly right, because the destruction of the economy, the shutdowns, putting small businesses out of business, all of those kinds of things. And particularly they're talking about, we're for minority-owned businesses. Yeah, right. No, you're not. This entire economy was shut down unnecessarily because of COVID. Period. End of discussion.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more. But then again, that's why we do this show, because most of the time we agree and we're on the same page. So that's why it's such a pleasure to do the show with you. And I want to remind everybody who's watching this, if you're listening to us on broadcast radio and you're catching us live on Monday nights at 7:30, I want you to remember that there is exclusive content that you're only going to get in our podcast, which is available on Spotify and Google Play. So if you're listening to the broadcast show, you're going to want to catch the morning after podcast where we red pill you on Tuesdays.
Yes, we do.
And there we have a lot of exclusive content. And of course, a lot of the more graphic language is included in that podcast, which is my personal favorite part.
Mine as well.
That's where we can really be ourselves. They censor us on the broadcast. So if you're listening to us on the broadcast, you really want to catch the Spotify or the Google Play or anywhere else great podcasts are. Please catch us there. We got a lot more in store. We're going to have great celebrity guests the next couple of weeks. I'm going to keep booking these amazing celebrity conservative guests, and I want to thank our team and thank production for doing a great job and backing us up on that. But I want to have as many of them on before the election so we can re-elect our great President Donald Trump.
Absolutely. And I may be doing some live stuff relative to the convention next week. Stay tuned.
Ooh, I can't wait. All right, we'll do some shout outs on Instagram and different things, but you gotta keep me filled in on that because we gotta do some promos for that. I love it.
Absolutely.
We'll fit it into the radio show. We'll figure it out.
Yep. Thanks,
awesome.
Always.
It's been a great show. And
Always.
next week, we got a really, really interesting guest that's going to give us a lot of background on the president and who he was before he became president.
Oh, yeah.
Stay tuned.
And that's going to be exciting.
You have been listening to Red America Radio. Straight up conservative talk for today's red-blooded America.